So if we were to design the best workout in the world, the ultimate workout, what would it be? So the first thing that I would ask is, what is exercise? It sounds like a strange question, but not many people know the answer. And even so-called experts don't even start with that question. Exercise is a stressor. Now in biology, this is known as hormesis, the hormonal response to the stress. And it looks like this, where it starts out where you get this beneficial effect from the stress as the body adapts and you release lots of positive hormones. But then if you put too much stress or prolonged stress, it actually starts to become a negative where it releases negative hormones. So let's look at this more closely and see how we can get the most of the beneficial impact of hormesis. If you do no movement whatsoever, you're just sitting, standing, and you're not moving, then obviously there's no stress in the body, so therefore no results. But if you start to apply more stress, in other words, you're moving around, you could be jogging, that type of exercise, then that's kind of moderate stress, so then you get moderate results. Now, if you lift the heaviest weight that you can or run as fast as you can, you're maximizing the stress and therefore you're maximizing the benefits. Now, the stress in this case when it comes to exercise is the intensity of the exercise. And that is the total key to results, intensity. So what are the benefits if you train at high intensity? Well, the first positive hormone that you release is what's called growth hormone. Now, this is called a fountain of youth because it's something that we have a huge amount of when we're much younger, and then as we age, it starts to diminish. Now, growth hormone is what burns fat, it increases muscle tissue, bone density, skin thickness, elasticity, and energy levels, pretty much everything that we want. Now, what's interesting in the research, it shows that if you do moderate exercise, so you go for running or cycling, you'll increase it 133 to 166%. But when you start to put more stress, so say for instance you're lifting a weight that's about 70% of your maximum, then you're going to release 300% more growth hormone. And if you keep going where you're lifting 85%, you're barely able to get about 7 reps and then you won't be able to do any more, then you release 400% more growth hormone. Now, if you can maintain that level of intensity for a 20-minute workout, overall, you're going to get 771% increase in growth hormone, which is amazing. Another hormone that you release through high intensity workout is what's called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF for short. This is an incredible hormone because it improves your brain in pretty much every way. So it improves your memory, your focus, your concentration, and your mood levels. It's even protective against neurological diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So Dr. John Ratey, so he's a Harvard neuropsychiatrist, and he calls it Miracle-Gro for the brain because it's so impactful on our brain development. Now, what's interesting in the research is that when people exercised at low intensity for 45 minutes, they only increased BDNF by 1%, not a whole lot. But when they increased that to medium intensity, but for less duration, so they were only doing 35 minutes, now BDNF jumps up 7%, which is a huge amount more. But of course, the high intensity group, what they did was only 25 minutes and they got an increase of 19%. That's amazing. You're literally 20% smarter. I mean, if you could put this in the pill, it would be the limitless pill. So now we know all the advantages of training with high intensity. But let's zoom back out again and look at hormesis. And let's try to avoid the downside of this, because prolonged stress does release a lot of stress hormones, in particular cortisol. Now, prolonged elevated levels of cortisol actually causes muscle wastage and fat storage, especially around the midsection, the exact opposite of what we want from exercise. Also, it can cause the body to slow down and make you hungrier because it's trying to recover from all that stress. Interestingly, in 2013, in the journal Heart, cardiologists found that people that did a lot of marathon runs, excessive running, they found that their arteries had hardened stiffened and calcified. They literally accelerated the aging of the heart. The researchers concluded that the heart is actually designed for short bouts of high-intensity exercise. Unfortunately, the vast majority of exercise programs are purely designed based on how many calories they burn. They completely ignore the science and biology of hormesis. These chronic cardio-style workouts, they don't optimize the benefits, and the prolonged stress actually will reduce those benefits even further, and in some cases can do more harm than good. The two most popular styles of exercises to do is either cardio or strength training. So let's look at both and see. So cardio, which is short for cardiovascular training, is when you've got an elevated heart rate for a period of time. And that means your heart is pumping fast. So obviously it's great for heart health. Also your lungs are going because you got to get oxygen through the system. So there's clearly a lot of good benefits for your heart and lungs. So interestingly, there's been a lot of research showing that as little as 10 minutes of high intensity or HIIT training when it comes to cardio is just as effective as almost an hour of traditional style cardio. So you really can get all the benefits of cardio in a lot less time. And of course, if you do it at high intensity for 15 to 20 minutes, then you're also going to get the added benefits of the increase of growth hormone and BDNF. Now, interestingly, with cardio exercise, you can apply it to a lot of different styles of exercise. So obviously you can go running, you can go cycling, swimming, you can use an elliptical machine, etc. Now, what's to stop you from getting a cardio workout while you do strength training? Now, strength training has even more benefits than cardio exercise. Aside from the obvious that it's going to increase your muscle, your strength, and your bone density, it's also incredibly good for your metabolic health because when you activate more muscle fibers, it recruits more mitochondria, and that equates to even having much better blood sugar response and blood pressure. Now, traditional strength training, they will recommend to do 45 minutes to an hour, taking a lot of rests between exercises and sets. So can you really get all of those benefits in a higher intensity resistance training for as little as 15 to 20 minutes? Now, there hasn't been as much research on this compared to cardio, but in 2018, the American Council of Exercise, they put together an amazing team of researchers to see whether or not this is possible. So what did they find? Well, they highlighted 3 takeaways from the research. The first was that the results were actually as good as or better in the shorter 20-minute high-intensity group compared to the 45-minute group. The second point that they highlighted was the obvious, where you're going to save a lot of time when you work out like this. And then the third takeaway was not only were the results as good as or better, but they got the results in a lot less time, in half the time. So it only took 3 weeks for the high-intensity training group to get the results, where it took 6 weeks in the traditional form of 45 minutes. This is truly remarkable. You really can get both a cardio workout and a strength workout in a whole lot less time, 15 to 20 minutes a few times a week. That's less than an hour exercise a week. But if you were to follow the standard recommendations, you'd have to do all your strength training, 2 to 3 hours, all your cardio separately, another 3 hours every week. So the difference is phenomenal. But now hopefully you understand, because of the science, because of hormesis, that you truly can get these results in a lot less time. So now I'm going to show you exactly how to put this into action, all the practical steps and really cool techniques that allows you to get the heart rate up so that you get a cardio workout while you're doing the strength training. So you can choose either the ultimate home workout or the ultimate gym workout.